has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have the car stopped at 10th and Ranch Microbider.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Folks, this case going on in Pennsylvania with this escaped convicted murderer is entering the 7th day. And we're hearing a lot of feedback in regards to how difficult this search actually is. And you see on the screen, Danelo Cavalcante is obviously traveling at nighttime under the cover of darkness. And the terrain is not what law enforcement says is a friendly type terrain to search for this. In this type of search, there's a lot of places for Danelo Cavalcante to hide. And as you can see from these photos, he's acquired at least 2 backpacks. And one of the things I would almost guarantee that inside one of those backpacks is a weapon or weapons. So he's a very dangerous individual. And law enforcement cannot at any time let their guard down, nor the people of this community, because he is an extremely dangerous person. And the longer he's out there, the more dangerous he gets. And this entering its 7th day is a little bit disturbing, and we're not doubting that law enforcement is creating a full court press to try to apprehend this Danelo Cavalcante. You know, investigators believe that convicted murderer Danelo Cavalcante escaped from the Chester County Prison in Pennsylvania on Thursday by climbing onto the roof and fleeing from there. Now, the disturbing thing about this is the second inmate since May that has escaped this prison in this manner. That's inexcusable. People are in prison because they're very dangerous, and they hold the most dangerous people from society inside there. And if the prison can't hold them inside there, then there's obviously something wrong with the management or with their procedures, that they've had 2 escaped prisoners in 3 months. Inexcusable. Heads need to roll for that. About 200 law enforcement personnel searching for Cavalcante in eastern Pennsylvania are now hoping, in the words of the lieutenant colonel, to stress him out of hiding as the manhunt stretches into its 7th day. The U.S. Marshals are also on this manhunt, and they are the best in the business. So, having said that, it must be a very, very difficult terrain. Obviously, it's very difficult. The searchers, they're sort of locked in a game of hide and seek, tactical hide and seek, because first of all, this little inmate is very little. He's 5 foot tall and 120 pounds. Think of all the places that he can hide. And according to Robert Clark, a supervisory deputy U.S. Marshal in Pennsylvania, he's extremely dangerous. Anyone that has 2 prior murders under their belt will not hesitate to take another life. Another inmate, again, as I mentioned, escaped from the same prison on May 19th. I think there's some systemic problems there if within 3 months you have 2 escaped inmates. The inmate who escaped in May told police he was able to scale a wall in an exercise area by putting his legs against one wall and his arms on another until he was able to pull himself up to the roof. Obviously, there's vulnerabilities in that prison that need to be corrected. Officials here, they're refusing to publicize how Cavalcante was able to escape. He escaped from the prison on Thursday, it's around 30 miles west of Philadelphia. And after the escape, he got into the thick of the woods. The search of the perimeter expanded this week when they realized that Cavalcante had escaped the the perimeter, getting out in the southern direction. Now, the Marshal Service, Officer Clark, again, they've used the language, we plan to stress him out. Well, just think, he is traveling probably mostly at nighttime, maybe resting during the daytime. There's no doubt he's broken into several locations, stolen some things. We must have to assume right now that he's obtained a weapon of some sort, whether it be a knife or a gun. And obviously, one of the things that he would love to be able to obtain would be a vehicle. So people in this area have to be extremely, extremely vigilant, hyper vigilant, and make sure that, you know, they heed the warnings of law enforcement not to go too close to this area. Cavalcante was convicted of first-degree murder on August 16th in the killing of his former girlfriend, 33-year-old Deborah Bradau, in 2021. He was sentenced to life without parole. He's also wanted in a 2017 homicide case in Brazil, his native country. You know, the police have nothing that they consider factual that he's obtained a weapon, but he has 2 backpacks. And what's inside those backpacks? I will almost guarantee he has a weapon. And law enforcement know this. They don't have any proof, but you know something, a guy like this, that's the first thing he's going to do is try to obtain a weapon. You know, we saw the video of the person that said that he believes that Cavalcante had made it inside his house. That was the person that felt that flicking the light switch was sufficient to scare him away. And I say thank God that person is still alive today, because Cavalcante, if he had obtained a weapon at that point and had this person confronted him without a weapon, that person very well could be dead right now. I'm going to play that little the video from that.
Prisoner in Chester County. Authorities said there have now been 4 credible sightings of Danelo Cavalcante since he broke out on Thursday, leading them to believe he's still in that area. Residents today being told to stay vigilant. Action News reporter Maggie Kent joining us now live in Pocopson Township once again. Maggie, you spoke with a man today who says he saw Cavalcante on Friday.
Absolutely terrifying experience, Brian. Ryan Drummond says that he was inside his home on Friday night. Now, Drummond lives here within this 2-mile search radius, closed to through traffic. All of the neighbors here in this wooded area, 2-mile search area, have been basically locked down since then as U.S. Marshals and state police continue their search.
My wife, I said, hey, I think there might be somebody downstairs. You know, get on the phone.
Ryan Drummond claims he saw Danelo Cavalcante, convicted killer on the run from Chester County Prison for 5 days now, inside of his home on Friday night around 11:45. After hearing rustling downstairs, Drummond says he rushed to his upstairs landing.
What I decided to do was flip the light switch on and off, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 times, pause, and then he flipped the light switch from downstairs 3 or 4 times, which was the moment of like, oh my God, this guy is down there.
After making sure his children were sleeping in their beds, Drummond says he watched Cavalcante walk out of his home.
I saw him walk out of the kitchen and through our living room, kind of along the side, opened up that door, walked out. He was wearing a white shirt, had a bag.
Police arrived, but the man escaped back into the thick wood and brush after taking some food.
Peaches, apples, green snap peas had been missing. You know, we have a bunch of little steak knives. It's possible that he could have also taken one of those.
State police leading this manhunt say there have been 4 confirmed sightings of Danelo Cavalcante within this 2-mile search area around Chester County Prison. with 2 break-ins recorded.
We can confirm that we have investigated actually 2 burglaries.
When asked about Drummond's account, state police remained intentionally vague.
That's within the search area, and yes, we have investigated a number of things within that search area. I don't want to get any more specific.
Again, Cavalcante was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison just 2 weeks ago. He's convicted of murdering his ex-girlfriend in 2021, and he's also wanted in his home country of Brazil for a 2017 murder. All that to say, investigators say this man is extremely dangerous. You should not approach him, and they say they are here out in force. So if you do give them a call, if you do have a sighting, they'll be there within moments. We're live.
So, I mean, terrifying, right? Just imagine some escaped, a desperado, if you will, escaped prisoner is in your home. I think that I would do a little more than flick the lights. I think that's time to, if it's not already cocked, slide the slide back on your 9mm and go downstairs and take care of business, because again, this guy's dangerous. He's killed. He'll kill again. And why are you giving him a second chance? He escaped. Maybe this person doesn't have a firearm, possibly. But I would be, my wife, my kids in my house, I think I would be pretty concerned that he breaks into someone's house. He has ill intentions. Our politicians will try to convince us that burglary is a property crime. No, it's a violent crime. Take it from me. I did 27 years on the NYPD. Burglary in no way is a nonviolent crime, but they want to downgrade it. So that's what the politicians do. But if someone comes into your house uninvited, the definition of burglary, knowingly and unlawfully enter or remain in the building with intent to commit a crime. Was that a burglary he committed? Yes, absolutely. He went into that building with intent to steal something, steal food, steal a weapon, whatever his intentions were. They were not honorable. And, people worry, and this day and age, people are always concerned now more with the criminal than with the folks, the citizenry, protecting themselves. And I think that that's the most important thing, is that you are able to protect yourself in this world, because the police are not going to be able to get there quickly enough to come to your aid to save you. So, these are the concerns I want to play this. If let's see if we can get this going.
Has had neighbors concerned and fear, and has led to several schools and businesses closing. His most recent sighting was late Monday night at Longwood Gardens. And you see, these are photos from it.
Yeah, I think there were some footprints found yesterday as well. So there's been more things happening since Monday, this being Wednesday morning. So let's bring in our guest now. Scott Duffy is here. FBI, retired.
Yes.
Good to have you here.
Good morning.
I don't know. People are getting impatient. Why is it taking this long?
Yeah, so imagine the terrain. There's a lot of law enforcement, but imagine how big these properties are. It's a pretty rural area. You have trees, you have shacks and sheds and thicket and high grass. And for somebody to lay low, somebody could easily be within a few feet of him if it's not a grid search. And this is not a grid search.
Well, we were thinking too, at night, sometimes they'll put up a helicopter with those, thermal imaging, and you see the body temperature of the person, in the trees. Why can't they do that?
So technology is great, but we've been in a heat wave the last couple of days. So you have, what are these designed to do? To pick up heat temperatures of whether it be an animal or a human being and send a team. But if you have all this heat coming off the ground, you're high up in the sky, you're looking at red. And so thereby something that might easily be picked out at a 50, 60 degree day, 70 degrees with cool ground now you have all that heat coming up, and it kind of affects.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that is something to think about. And this is interesting because in this area,
I don't know if that's totally true. I mean, these thermal imaging systems that these helicopters have, at least the most upgraded ones, I think they take into account that there's heat coming off the ground, and I think they do work. They also have drones up in the air, a flying thing that we haven't had in law enforcement till modern day, and a huge. But again, this is the thickest terrain, thick growth on the ground. And remember, this inmate, this prisoner, this escaped prisoner, this escaped desperado, is 5 foot tall, 120 pounds. Therefore, he can hide in places that most of us could not.
they've had a similar situation happen, but this was back in 1999. So a lot of people are thinking about the manhunt that was going on then.
Oh,
When convicted killer Norman Johnston escaped prison, he was on the run for 19 days.
19 days.
And here's how we covered it back then.
Is there any sound on this? If not, I'll talk. Okay. So you know this one, don't you? Know this case,
yes,
don't you?
I was there.
You were there in 1999. Oh, there he is, Norman Johnston. He had a whole family of bad people, didn't he?
Yes, Norman Johnston. A movie was made about the family and the killings and just his criminal organization. It was an amazing time to be a part.
Was it the same area we're talking about?
Yeah, same area. So I was at Longwood Gardens. I was, and this was a wider search because Norman had stolen a car, and of course he was locked up back in the 70s. So when he would try to steal a car, a modern day car, he didn't know how to operate it. So he was looking for an 80s or older model car, which he was used to stealing. And so, there's far few of those cars to be able to steal, but he was bouncing between Delaware and Pennsylvania. So the search was a little bit wider.
But kind of the same darn area. So
And eventually he was found underneath someone's home.
yeah, so ultimately what it comes down to is a very alert neighbor, resident. Here's some rustling out back. It is late at night. I'm about 3 miles from the location as one of the search teams. And then the call comes out that we got him. And Norm came out after a very tired, very long couple of weeks without any incident.
Oh, really?
No fight.
He says, I've had it. But again, we're only 6-7 days in on this one.
Mhm.
That one went almost 3 weeks.
Correct.
What's going to end up happening here, do you think? Well, how are they going to get him?
Law enforcement is doing exactly what and the same departments, the same agencies are involved, so they know how to come across and try to find. They're narrowing their search, and of course, Danelo is moving, I believe, south, and so the perimeter is tightening.
Mhm.
It is also changing as well as it should, but it's going to take an alert
Well, they're
neighbor.
still optimistic because he is being seen.
And that's what you're saying. The alert neighbors looking through your Ring cameras,
Yeah.
noticing if like, hearing a rustling.
Definitely very alert, locking doors, making sure that going out during the day to make sure that your sheds are locked. If you were to wake up in the morning and you see the door open, that should be a sign. Do not even go close to it. Call 911. Let law enforcement.
It's just fascinating to go back to all these years to 1999. The same area. We're talking about kind of the same manhunt situation. And so I'm fascinated by the footage from 1999. And we do have a little sound bite. I want to hear this.
In fact, Johnston told police 2 of the older vehicles he stole during his long run from the law broke down. He made it clear he tried repeatedly to leave the Chester County area, but said heavy publicity made it tough for Johnston to travel. Each time he was spotted, he said he was forced back into hiding.
Do we see you anywhere in there, Scott?
No, so this would be the following day. I think I was sleeping during this time because he was caught late the night before, and so after many hours, 19 days. It was 24/7 operation, which very much like today.
He's still alive, I think. I think he's still in prison.
I haven't heard anything different.
And you heard Bruce Gordon say that publicity was key because he had
Publicity, keeping the media on this so that way people don't become complacent. And they're constantly alert, whether coming, going to work, school, or whatever, just in a walk.
Fascinating.
So, folks, you just think that was some footage about it. And they had a guy who escaped years ago, and he was on the lam for 3 weeks. I mean, this throws this community into total lockdown. You know, the schools have to be closed. The community has to be warned to stay inside or be highly vigilant. I mean, Pennsylvania is gun country. I mean, it's a big hunting state. I would think most of these people that live in this community have guns. And in my opinion, if they have a legal gun, they should be traveling with it on them, their person right now, till this guy is caught, because that's going to be the equalizer. And, you know, you have this guy, an escaped prison inmate, two-time murderer. He's not going to hesitate to take someone else's life. And that's the bottom line. And most good people, good citizenry, they don't fully understand that. They don't have maybe the propensity to use deadly physical force. And that's what's needed for this. And I bring us back to this case on the screen. That's Gonzalo Lopez in 2022. He escaped from a Texas prison. And in the time that he escaped, he was on the lam for quite a long time and was hiding out in unoccupied hunting cabins. And what he did was sort of law enforcement, I believe, put their guard down a little bit and almost insisting that he had left the area. There was very poor communication on this case. And in fact, he had not left the area. What he did was he was laying low during the daytime in unoccupied hunting cabins. And the horrible part of that story is that he killed a family of 5 that went back into the area, which was also a huge snafu of law enforcement. They should have never allowed anyone back into that area till he was caught. They let them back in. Again, everything about that case was a mess. How he escaped from the prison on a prison van with 2 guards and like 20 prisoners on it. People, it was an inside job. People assisted him in escaping. Just a disaster, what they did. And let's hope that in this case we have a happy ending with no one killed and that they apprehend Danelo Cavalcante and that they apprehend him soon. Because, as I said, this doesn't get better. It gets worse. You know, and there's a picture on the screen of from a trail camera of him caught last night on this trail camera. And these are the things that give the police information, and it gives them, of course, an area to search and a place to restart up. Because look, they have what they call this perimeter, a 2-mile perimeter, and you saw the terrain. And, you know, there were some folks in the chat asking, are they using dogs? Yes, they have bloodhounds and they have German shepherds. And that itself also is a huge deterrent. Most criminals, when they hear those dogs, they are simply terrified of those dogs. Now, whether the dogs are picking up a scent in order to track him or not, or because of the amount of personnel on the ground, if that throws off their scent, that's unknown at this time. But they certainly have all the tools and the toys they need to apprehend this person.
Today on the intense manhunt for an escaped prisoner in Chester County. Authorities said there have now been 4 credible sightings of Danelo Cavalcante since he broke out on Thursday, leading them to believe he's still in that area. Residents today being told to stay vigilant. Action News reporter Maggie Kent joining us now live in Pocopson Township once again. Maggie, you spoke with a man today who says he saw Cavalcante on Friday.
Absolutely terrifying experience, Brian. Ryan Drummond says that he was inside his home on Friday night. Now, Drummond lives here within this 2-mile search radius, closed to through traffic. All of the neighbors here.
I showed this one. This one is also is talking about that individual, Ryan Drummond, who heard the perpetrator in his house, heard him making noise inside his house, and that was could have been disastrous. And luckily, this individual flicked his lights, and he flicked the lights back, and then he saw him leave his home. Very scary, right? And could have been a disaster. However, he fled, and then the police had some information on where to track him at that point.
Who escaped from the Chester County Prison. Police have closed more roads today, indicating the search has now shifted. Danelo Cavalcante has been on the run since last Thursday. Our Joe Holden has been following this story very closely. He is live in Pecopsit Township. Good afternoon, Joe.
John, good afternoon to you. So this is one of several checkpoints all along Route 926. In fact, we're on the northeastern edge of this perimeter. We've seen cars searched, and state police just searched this train. The train actually had crossed 926, and then the engineer reversed it so the troopers could get on board and see if Danelo Cavalcante was perhaps hitching a ride. They've cleared the train. They're just waiting for it to come back this way, if that is perhaps its route of travel. We've mentioned the expansion. Yes, there have been reports of sightings, but sources tell me they were dismissed, found to be disproven from overnight. Police still urging homeowners and business owners to check those surveillance systems for any possible sign of Danelo Cavalcante. The search now hitting day 7. Efforts to locate him have not been successful, despite prosecutors telling us hundreds of law enforcement officers are in this area of southern Chester County. Cavalcante was convicted in the murder of his former girlfriend last month. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Meanwhile, the stress of the search is taking its toll. Schools in the area are again closed. Superintendents for 2 districts are appealing to the Department of Education for waivers so the canceled days won't be counted against them for that 180-day rule. Businesses in the area have reported lighter traffic due to the heavy police presence and, of course, out of concern for safety. Police were confident yesterday that their approach would end this manhunt, but so far Cavalcante has continued to elude capture. As you see, state police back live here, sitting right at 926, and just to the left of your screen is the bridge to the Brandywine Creek. Again, this is the edge of the search zone for now. We've seen it migrate slightly to the east as, of course, it's getting wider, and state police leading the investigation in Cavalcante. Now, state police have called for a 3 o'clock news conference that is in Westchester at the County Government Center. We, of course, will bring that to you live right here on CBS News Philadelphia and on our streaming service. That is the latest. We're live in Pecopsit Township. I'm Joe Holden, CBS News Philadelphia.
You know, folks, one of the things that you have to think of, like, how many of us, like a non-criminal, could run around in the woods for going on 7 days and to survive? He's surviving. And how is he surviving? Well, he's probably tougher than the average human because he's a criminal, and he hasn't probably led the greatest life. But here he is hiding out in the day, right? Which means he probably has to break into places, hiding out in the day and traveling stealthily at nighttime. And I'm sure he's quite aware of the police presence. He hears the helicopters. He hears and sees the helicopters and the drones. But yet, he still stealthily moves. Stealthily, I should say, moves. And someone pointed out in the chat that his name in Portuguese is pronounced Danilo. The press released early on in the investigation that it was spelled Danelo, in essence Danilo, but it's pronounced Danilo. So thank you for that Portuguese person that corrected my incorrect pronunciation of his name. So where does this go from here? Like, how long could this take? You heard the earlier news report that a prisoner that escaped several years ago was on the run for 3 weeks. Let's hope that that doesn't happen in this case, because when someone is on the lam for that long, the odds that he hurts someone are raised. Kelby Gonzalo Lopez was in a territory where everyone has shotguns. Kelby, I don't know if you're from that area, but I covered that case, and I could not believe during that case the incompetence of the Texas Department of Corrections, especially the public relations guy who was giving out the information. Just a joke. And also the incompetence of the Texas Department of Corrections in the way that he escaped. And then the local police were also, like Mayberry RFD. They were horrible. And even the way they handled it as Gonzalo Lopez was out there for a couple of weeks, almost urging people. There's a picture of Gonzalo Lopez, who now pushes up daisies. He's 6 feet under in his interaction with the Fugitive Enforcement Division. He thought he was going to shoot it out with them. The shootout didn't last long. They took him out very quickly, and thank God he's dead, because, as I said, he was serving 2 life terms, and then he killed a family of 5. And I blame that on the Texas Department of Corrections, the local police there, and everyone that was involved that encouraged people to come back into the community. Oh, he fled the area. He's out of the area. That was not true. It wasn't true that he fled the area. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories. If you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, then you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed to us, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring that bell. And if you want to contribute to this channel, we have a Patreon with 3 different levels, and we also have a YouTube channel membership with 5 different levels. And we appreciate all of our subscribers, our friends, our YouTube family, and there who help to keep this channel going. Jeanette Lawson, but Texas had civilian volunteers because law enforcement was small. Yeah, it was a very small in the town that Gonzalo Lopez escaped to. The police there was a very small department. However, once the thing gets going, they bring in Fugitive Enforcement Division, they bring in other police, and Hoku Toe Tube 75. I believe he stabbed them, he shot them. He had acquired a weapon or weapons, and as I said, he killed a family of 5 that went back to their hunting cabin, which should have, again, I blame that on law enforcement. They should have never advertised that it was safe to come back into the community. The public relations guy on that case was just horrific, and people came back, and he was still laying low, and he killed a family of 5. And we hope and pray that doesn't happen in this case, because hopefully the police are there to stay, and they're not going to give out any false information about whether Danilo Cavalcante has left the area. Let's hope they keep the pressure on.
Who escaped from prison. Authorities in Pennsylvania have reported new sightings of the fugitive, and the search area has now expanded. ABC's Morgan Norwood has those details.
This morning, the urgent manhunt for escaped murderer Danelo Cavalcante entering its 7th day. The search zone expanding in a Pennsylvania forest after new reports of footprints in the area. The possible clue just a few miles from where these trail cameras captured images of him in Longwood Gardens, a sprawling botanical attraction outside Philadelphia.
The photos confirm that Cavalcante has not changed his appearance, but also that he has obtained a backpack.
Police say Cavalcante slipped through a nearby perimeter, but believe he's still lurking nearby.
We realized within just a few hours where he was, and so he's not had a tremendous amount of time to to move a long distance.
We're learning more about how Cavalcante may have broken out of the Chester County Prison. Officials have not said how, but the Philadelphia Inquirer reports that a source inside the prison says Cavalcante climbed onto the roof from the exercise yard, then ran across the roof and dropped down to a less secure area, fleeing the prison grounds from there. The source says this was nearly identical to how a previous prisoner escaped only months ago. State police and the district attorney's office declined to comment on that report, and the prison did not return our request for comment. Cavalcante was previously sentenced to life in prison for killing his girlfriend in front of her children. And with Cavalcante still on the run overnight, one nearby school district closed again today.
Everybody's like a little bit nervous, I guess.
The district attorney and state police have now opened investigations into the escape.
You know, folks, as I said before, the fact that they had 2 escapes from this prison within months is a systematic problem on their procedures and on their security. That is unforgivable, you know, that 2 prisoners within 3-month period have escaped a high security, allegedly a high security prison. Where the security was so high, how did they escape? Disgraceful. And, you know, those type of things should absolutely not occur. It's not good. It's not good prison security. It's not good policy. And, you know, if something like that happens, the person in charge is either getting demoted, transferred, or forced to retire. 2 prison escapes in a 3-month period. Not a good look. Just absolutely horrific. There's the wanted poster, Danelo Cavalcante, and you can see they spell it Danelo. You say it's pronounced Danelo. So he's wanted for escape and homicide. There's his height, 5 foot tall, as I said before, 120 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. Again, anyone with information should call 911 or 1-877-926-8332 or contact PA Crime Stoppers at 1-800-4-PA-TIPS. So that wanted poster should be all over the internet, all over TV until they capture this guy. Again, there's some of the view of his photos taken of him from a trail camera in which he acquired 2 different backpacks. I would almost 100% guarantee that in the back of one of those backpacks he has a weapon, a knife. Maybe he's even acquired a gun. He's broken into at least 2 or 3 locations that the state police have verified. So I think the police, they're saying that, oh, we don't know that he acquired a gun, but believe me, they are considering him armed and extremely dangerous. And anyone that's ever been a police officer knows that you should always assume that a perpetrator is armed. Never assume that he's not armed. This is from, I believe, yesterday's press conference, and I'll play a little bit of this.
With me is Major D'Ambrosio over to my right, the area commander for this area of the Pennsylvania State Police. Also, I'm joined by District Attorney Deb Ryan and also Rob Clark from the U.S. Marshal's Office. As you know, on the morning of Thursday, August 31st, inmate Danelo Cavalcante escaped from the Chester County Prison. The investigation into the escape is ongoing and is being conducted jointly by the Chester County District Attorney's Office and the Pennsylvania State Police. After the escape was detected at approximately 10 o'clock that morning, a county employee reported seeing an individual matching the description of Cavalcante south of the prison and near Route 52. Numerous law enforcement agencies searched that area but could not locate Cavalcante. The escape investigation and search was originally coordinated by the Chester County District Attorney's Office with assistance from the Pennsylvania State Police and numerous other local, state, and federal agencies. With much of the effort now focused in PSP primary coverage area, District Attorney Ryan has requested PSP to take a leading role in this investigation. We have agreed to do that and, of course, continue to work closely with the District Attorney's Office as we move forward. We continue to bring more technology and personnel to bear on this situation. Since the day of the escape, there have been several credible sightings within an area bordered by the intersection of Route 926 and 52, north on 52 to Parkersville Road, southeast to 926, and west to the intersection of 926 and 52 in Pocopson Township. In total, there have been 4 sightings within that boundary. The most recent credible sighting occurred yesterday afternoon, also within that bordered area. We have secured that area and continue to actively search it. While there are a number of challenges, we are confident that if he is in there, we will find him. We are asking for the public's help in a number of ways. First, familiarize themselves with the photograph and description of Cavalcante. There is every reason to believe he remains in this area. Second, within the secured area I have described, as well as near there, we are asking residents to check on their neighbors. If they're not at home, please let us know so we can check their property in their absence. We know that we have numerous homes within the search area in which we presume the occupants are away for the holiday weekend. We have been checking the exteriors of many of those homes, but as they return, if they find anything disturbed, please stop and call us so that we can check it out prior to them going through the residence. Third, please check your home security cameras and call us with anything suspicious you might observe.
So, folks, of course, that's what the police should be doing, using the community as an asset to them. After all, thousands of eyes in the community are better than just a few eyes or as many police officers and state troopers as they have there. According to the lieutenant colonel here, he said the Pennsylvania State Police is the lead agency in this case. Now, the resources they have out there, the FBI, at least I don't know if the FBI has boots on the ground. However, they do have personnel that are aware and working on this case. So they are taking this case totally 100% full court press because, again, he's a killer. He's out and the hunt is underway. And till he's caught, no one in this area can lower their guard. And there's the poster again. Danilo Cavalcante, wanted for escape and homicide. And again, the vigilance and the searches, look, there's no doubt that this area is a very, very difficult area to search, or else they would have caught him already. There's numerous places to hide. And again, he's a small little guy, 5 foot tall, 120 pounds. He can basically secrete himself almost anywhere. So that's all part of this. And he's moving stealthily at nighttime and resting during the day. Folks, if you're looking for a great attorney in the New York City metropolitan area, then Joe Murray is your man. Joe's a retired NYPD police officer and a fantastic defense attorney. You can reach Joe on his cell phone at 718-514-3855. Email him at joe@jmurray-law.com and his website, jmurray-law.com. And Joe is also a huge supporter of the Police Off the Cuff podcast, and we appreciate all he's done for this channel. So, folks, what does this put the community right now? Well, obviously, it puts the community at a high level of vigilance. But does the community, do they have to just keep going about their business, or should they adhere to the directions from the Pennsylvania State Police? And I would highly recommend that the folks living in this area listen and follow all the instructions by the police until this guy is caught. This is more than a dangerous situation. Again, we don't want to see in this community what happened in Texas with Gonzalo Lopez and the savage you see on the screen right there. And thankfully, he thought he was going to shoot it out with the Fugitive Enforcement Division, and it didn't work out well for him. They weren't unarmed people going to a hunting cabin, and luckily, they took him out before he could hurt anyone else. So, again, we don't want to see that happen in this case. So, vigilance. Why, though? We talk about why in this 2-mile square perimeter that the police keep referring to. How is he able to avoid detection? How is he able to avoid not getting caught? And look, I think most human beings wouldn't want to be out in this woods late at night traveling. Therefore, I believe that he's smart enough that during the day, he's either breaking into a shed or somewhere where he can feel safe from the elements and hide himself in this place and catch a little bit of sleep. And then under the dark of night, move on and travel. And from inside this perimeter, he can hear the police. He can hear the helicopters, see the helicopters, the drones, hear the police vehicles, maybe potentially hear the dogs barking. So, of course, the police have the advantage, but this guy has the will to not get caught because he knows what awaits him once he gets caught. What awaits him is a jail cell for the rest of his life. So many people can't afford to pay their bills, and the cost of living these days will have to resort to surviving any way they can. I don't know, Hummingbird, what that was in reference to, but we're talking about an escaped inmate that's wanted for 2 homicides. Let me get back to yesterday's press conference.
There's been a tip line established, and we can be reached at 717-562-2987. 717-562-2987. All tips, of course, will be fully investigated. We also remind everyone that a reward totaling up to $10,000 has been offered for information leading to the capture of Danelo Cavalcante. I wanted to say a couple of things to the community as well, if I could. First, you may be hearing a message that's being broadcast from a helicopter or from cars in the vicinity of that perimeter that I talked about. One of the things that we have done is we've had the individual's mother make a recording asking him to surrender peacefully. It's done in Spanish, or actually Portuguese, and it's being broadcast in an effort to facilitate his peaceful surrender. Secondly, we're also asking the community to avoid the wooded area or anything outside of the immediate area around their homes in that perimeter that I described. As I said, we're actively searching that area. We're certainly not trying to lock anyone down, but we want to keep residents as safe as possible while we thoroughly search that area. So again, we ask them to refrain from that area. And I'd also like to thank the community for their support. This has gone on for a couple of days now. I know it's stressful for the community, but I want to assure you that all of us up here and our respective offices are working diligently to bring this to a conclusion as quickly as possible. Please know we are devoting all available resources. We're constantly identifying additional needs. We're making sure we bring those in, and we will resolve this as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. With that said, we'll be happy to take questions if any of you have any.
For the most recent sighting, can you just describe a little bit about what he looked like? Has he changed his appearance at all, and what was the nature of that sighting?
The appearance was very similar to what we've described, perhaps looking a little more worn and tired, but a very brief sighting, and it was a trooper actually that observed him in some distance, gave chase but was unable, because of the terrain and some other obstacles there, was unable to get to him, before he disappeared.
Where did he run off to, or can you just give a little bit more?
It was all within that perimeter area, but I don't want to be any more specific than that.
Can you elaborate on what makes it a credible sighting? And is it all visual? Are there video components to any of it?
One was a video sighting that I believe you have all seen. We've analyzed that video. The others are not video, but after extensive interviews, we believe them to be credible sightings.
Do you have any reason to believe that he's being assisted by anyone out there at this point?
I wouldn't want to comment at this point. We'll of course explore all avenues, and that's always something we look for. But I wouldn't want to go into anything more right now.
Can you confirm he broke into the house?
I'm sorry.
Can you confirm that he broke into the house and stole food? We're hearing that.
We can confirm that we have investigated actually 2 burglaries. The evidence is still under analysis at this point, and so I can't confirm that it was him, but they are of interest to us.
So is that why you're telling people, because after this holiday weekend, you said people haven't been home? So is that really what you're stressing to people?
Well, not only because of those 2 instances, but we know that that he is going to be looking for a means to sustain himself. He's going to need clothing. He's going to need food, and just to get in out of the weather. It's pretty hot out there. I'm sure he's looking for some better shelter. So for a lot of reasons, we would be concerned about where he might hide.
Did you dispatch any of your troopers to water Glen Drive for one of those apparent burglaries?
That's within the search area, and yes, we have investigated a number of things within that search area.
Folks, I don't think that much, other than the fact that they reported yesterday and up to the minute that he had gotten out of the perimeter and was south of it, and I believe was even spotted on a trail camera south of the perimeter. So they can never take for granted that this person is within their perimeter. He escaped out of it. That's what makes it so much more dangerous, because now they can't surrender that perimeter. They still have to secure it, because he could always backtrack and go back within the perimeter that he has just left. So the police here have a tough job. They really do. And let's hope that they have the personnel, they have the resources to keep the pressure on 24/7 until he's caught. Because look, did he obtain a weapon? When we look at these this little trail cameras, we see he's got 2 backpacks. What's inside these backpacks? Is there food? What else did he steal from these houses that he's burglarized? I would think the number one thing he would want would be a weapon, because first of all, he's a known stabber. That's his weapon of choice, a knife. So I would guarantee he has a weapon inside one of those backpacks. So when approached by the police, the first thing you would do with someone like this is have him face down on the ground and his arms spread out and his legs spread out so you can see everything. And assure him that if he moves, you will terminate his life, and in no uncertain terms. Because this isn't the typical, not that there is a typical perpetrator, but this guy's a dangerous fugitive. And we can't emphasize that enough, that L Boogie, Bill, I'm a New Yorker, my 47 years on earth, and I must tell you, I love your New York voice. Well, thank you so much. There's always mixed reactions to our New York accent. Some people love it. Some people are like, I can't take that New York accent. So thank you very much. I'm glad you appreciate it. Usually it's people that are from the area that leave and they get a little homesick and they hear a New York accent and they're like, oh, that's great. You're bringing me back to the days of my youth, the days of my favorite memories.
I don't want to get any more specific than that. well, from experience, there are a lot of things that we'll consider, but certainly you have to keep in mind he's stressed right now. Imagine any one of you being placed in a situation where you may not have had a chance to pack. You don't have things with you other than what you're wearing, and you don't have cash. You don't have a credit card. You don't have any other means to support yourself. You're going to be desperate, and that's the situation he's in. But it's also why one of our practices in how we conduct these types of investigations and manhunts is that we'll continue to push him hard. I intend to stress him. I want to push him hard. He'll make mistakes. He'll show himself. He's already shown himself, we believe, a few times. We'll contain him, and we will eventually catch him. We will do it as quickly as possible. Obviously, it takes time. He is desperate. He does not want to be caught. He has very little to lose at this point.
With school starting up soon, will the search efforts impact any bus stops for children? How should parents kind of deal with that?
So I'm going to defer to the school districts to communicate that information out. I can tell you that we have been in touch with the State Department of Education, having discussions about this, and also the district attorney has been in touch with several of the local superintendents. We're going to have another discussion later this afternoon. Ultimately, the decision rests with the school districts. We can provide them sort of the latest picture of what's going on in their areas, and then we ask them to make that decision and communicate that out to the parents.
Have you authorized the use of deadly force to apprehend him?
Yes.
Elaborate a little bit more on that.
If he is not actively surrendering, deadly force is authorized.
This is for Deb Ryan. Have you completed your investigation into the prison break at this point, or are you still reviewing?
Mike, our goal right now is to find this man and capture him. So we are channeling all of our efforts to bring him into custody.
You know, the question was, and this is the district attorney on the screen, the question was, have you completed your investigation in regards to the prison break where Danelo Cavalcante escaped? And the district attorney really doesn't want to answer that question right now. But what makes this especially egregious is that this was the second escaped prisoner at this prison since May. That's horrific. That's not okay in any state prison in any state in this country. 2 escaped prisoners. And again, someone in the chat before said, oh, the warden that was in command during the last escape, he was forced to resign or retire or whatever it might be. So yes, imagine you live near a prison and they have 2 escaped prisoners within 3 months. Not a good look at all.
Today, that is secondary. That is certainly a concern. But at this point, all manpower has been executed to find and hunt down this fugitive.
But it's been 5 days. How can you not explain how he escaped?
As I indicated, our focus right now is to capture this fugitive. He's a dangerous person. We will be able to update our investigation with respect to what happened at the prison at a later date.
Right, but I mean, obviously the question is, like, could other people also escape? I mean, is there something, at issue with the prison where somebody else could pull this off?
They have been looking into what happened and they are investigating what happened. I'm not at liberty at this point to share with the public what is going on with respect to that investigation. The prison is very aware of whatever vulnerabilities they had, and they have made efforts to correct those vulnerabilities.
To clarify, you know how he escaped and you're just not saying, or you just don't know?
As I indicated, we are working on the investigation with respect to the escape, but our main focus right now is to capture this fugitive.
Because you confirmed Friday that there was another escape 2 months prior to this.
Yes, there was. That's correct. I believe it was in May of this year.
We interviewed a neighbor who said that he was in the shed. That's somebody who escaped.
So they had another escaped prisoner from this very same prison in May. Not a good look. Not a good record. Head should roll. Head should definitely roll over that.
I think we're talking about the same suspect. Yeah.
Does this guy seem like he had a plan at all, or was this simple? I mean, it doesn't seem like he knew where to go.
At this time, we don't know, Mike, and we're conducting that investigation
Can
currently.
you elaborate on talking to the superintendents? Because we've talked to, all of us, have talked to so many neighbors, right, who are apoplectic, I want to use the word, just so upset, right? Can you talk to them about, they're saying they're not getting a lot of communication. They don't know what to do. They are having guns by their side, literally so upset. Can you just talk to them about what is going on and how they can allay their fears?
Absolutely. And our main concern is with the residents in this community. Of course, we want to make sure that they are protected and kept safe. We have been in communication with the superintendents. We have been sending out reverse 911 calls to the residents in a 2-mile perimeter. So they're getting updates that the rest of the community outside of that area are not getting. So we're making every effort to be in touch with them. Regarding the schools and how we want to operate moving forward, we have a call this afternoon to talk that out with the superintendents. But like Colonel Bivens indicated, it's going to be a decision that the school districts have to make on their own, but we're going to provide them with all the information that they need to make an educated decision on that.
What would you like to say to the neighbors? They're scared.
I understand that, and I want to say that we are doing everything in our power to get this guy, and people are working round the clock. I understand their fears, but we are doing everything. We're bringing in all the experts in this area. We have the top men and women working round the clock to bring this man to justice, and we're not going to stop until he's captured. And we hope we're getting closer.
And if I could just jump back in here. Thank you. With regard to the neighbors, the people in this area, I want to assure them that we have a strong presence there. They are not on their own out there. We have people close by. If they hear or see anything, call us. We will be happy to come check it out. They don't need to go outside and check out a suspicious noise, or if they hear something in their homes, we'll take care of it right away. We're close by. It's not going to take long at all to have somebody there. So we're happy to do that. And again, please know that we are doing everything. We ask for their indulgence of the heavy police presence, but that's one of the ways that we can, as best possible, assure their safety.
Is there anything that people should be avoiding, any behavior that they should avoid? As you mentioned, don't go out into the woods, but it's a holiday. Obviously, you don't have family get-togethers, never reunions, etc. Should they be staying inside and kind of canceling everything that they heard?
No, we're not asking people to do that. There's been no indication that that he poses that kind of a threat to anyone in those neighborhoods. He doesn't want to be caught. He doesn't want to go back. Now, could he be desperate and do something? Sure, but we don't have information to suggest that anyone is at risk for going out in their yard. What we're saying is,
something. I mean, look, that's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, would the Texas people said that about Gonzalo Lopez, an escaped 2-time murderer, and that's what this guy is. That they won't and do whatever they have to do to survive themselves, and including taking someone's life, carjacking their car, breaking into their home. Of course they will. I don't know why this lieutenant colonel said that. That's not. You want the public to be as vigilant as possible and realize that this guy is a bad guy. He's not surviving in the woods for 7 days because he's a meek little lamb. This guy's a lion, a small lion, but he's a lion. And I think it's sort of the lieutenant colonel here, a very competent man. You got to let the public know what they're dealing with. And yeah, be hyper vigilant. If you see this guy, don't confront him unless you're armed, and you always hear the police will never tell the public to take action, even if they are armed. Oh, he's so dangerous. No, something. If the public, someone from the public is armed and they see this guy and they wish to confront them, and you're armed, absolutely do so. Take him down. Put him face down on the ground. If he moves, blow him away. Do the police a favor. But I don't think this meekness, preaching meekness, and that's maybe not what the lieutenant colonel was saying, but I took it that way when he's saying, oh, we have no information. Well, of course you don't have any information. The guy's a 2-time murderer. What do you think he's going to do if he's confronted? What do you think he's going to do if he needs food? What do you think he's going to do if he's in your house and you confront him? He's going to use violence to do whatever he has to do. So, I mean, just, I think they sometimes give this information in sometimes a politically correct way.
To avoid interfering with the search, avoid those wooded areas. And again, that's a fairly small area, maybe a mile and a half across. The rest of the area, we're not even asking people to avoid the woods. It's within that perimeter area that we've set up that we're just asking for those, not even restrictions, some cooperation to make our jobs a little bit easier.
He's always in that 2 mile radius from the Chester County Prison, this whole area that's on lockdown.
Yes.
And then people get the use of deadly force. Is this shoot to kill on sight, or if he doesn't actively cooperate?
Well, the term is not shoot to kill. It's deadly force is authorized, and it's if he is not actively surrendering. We do consider him to be a very dangerous individual. He is convicted of homicide here, was involved in, I'm told, another homicide in Brazil some years ago. It's somebody that we think poses a threat and needs to be taken out of the community, needs to be incarcerated. He has the option to surrender. That is what we hope he will do.
Will he be returned to the Chester County Prison if he's apprehended?
We'll discuss that at that point in time. But what I would tell you is that I can assure you that there will be secure measures put in place that he won't be escaping again. And so whether that's at another facility, that's something that we'll be discussing with the district attorney and also with the State Department of Corrections.
Are the troopers going home to home searching to see if he's in one of their homes? Or we heard from some neighbors that they've allowed the troopers to go in and search.
They have been. And so again, we ask their cooperation. So you may see a trooper in that area or somewhere close by, knock at your door and ask some questions or ask if they can come in. Again, it's simply that they're trying to make sure that we have thoroughly searched that entire area and that residents' homes are secure.
Can you hear from the U.S. Marshals in terms of what your role is right now?
Sure. I think Lieutenant Colonel Bivens summarized everything perfectly. Our role is to support the Pennsylvania State Police. They are the lead investigator in this investigation, and they come with much experience of these woodland manhunts. We've had numerous manhunts. I think the most recent was in Warren County just a couple months ago. So we're bringing the best of the best assets out here. Their CERT team, their Special Emergency Response Team, is well trained. They're here. Our professionals from the Marshal Service are here as well. And our position is that Danelo Cavalcante's desperateness will not outlast the resolve of our investigators here. And that goes for the state police, that goes for the Marshal Service, our state and county local investigators. We're all on the same team. And like Lieutenant Colonel said, we will get him, we'll push the threat, he'll make a mistake, and we'll bring him into custody.
You know, the words that they keep using is to stress him. And look, he's been on the run now for 7 days. He's got to be extremely stressed, tired, not getting sleep, not eating properly, being bitten up by insects, not being warm enough at nighttime when he decides to walk and try to make the move. During the day when he sleeps, who knows where he's sleeping? Is he getting inside someone's home? So yes, he is being stressed by law enforcement. I don't think law enforcement's missing any meals. However, they know what they're doing, and they got to keep the pressure on 24/7 till this guy breaks. And that could happen. And hopefully sooner than later, they will catch this guy. And then this whole manhunt, this whole stressing, this whole lockdown will be over. But until that point, we got to keep the pressure on.
So outside that 2 mile radius, you're an expert, you've done this many times. Longwood Garden is open. I'm not sure if our Chester University decision yet. Should people outside the 2 mile radius not be as concerned? Or what would you say to people outside that 2 mile radius?
I don't think we're there yet. Like Lieutenant Colonel said, our efforts are focused on that 1.5 to 2 mile radius inside that inner perimeter. There's been 4 confirmed sightings. So we're not ready to sound the alarm outside of that radius yet. All of our efforts are focused inside. And until we exhaust that or we prove that he's escaped that 2 mile radius, Then we can talk about maybe what the public should do outside. Our efforts are all concerned inside the radius.
I mean, a lot of residents are saying, like, how is he still not captured? You know, you have the U.S. Marshals, like, you guys are the experts on this. There's troopers out there. The 2 mile radius is so small. Like, can you just talk a little about, like, where could he be? Like, is he in a tree? Like, you know.
When you talk
what's
about a
going
2
on?
mile radius, you got to remember this is a 5 foot tall gentleman, 120 pounds, and this is a heavily wooded area. It's very, very thick back there. There's a lot of hiding spots. There's a lot of ravines back there. And we are an expert in fugitive investigations, but the Pennsylvania State Police are experts in incident command. And I think that's why Lieutenant Colonel Bivens is here. There's nobody better in the agency than him. And I guarantee you that if he is here, that his troopers, along with our investigators, are going to be able to find and locate him.
Is there enough out there that he can actually sustain himself for an extended period of time between water, fruits, things of that sort?
Is there enough resources out there? I don't know. I don't know what he's obtained. I'm no expert on what's edible out there, what drinking water he's using. From the video the other night, we know he had a backpack on. One of the questions is, where did he get that backpack? So when we say homeowners who are coming back from the shore, check your belongings, see if anything's been disturbed. Are you missing a backpack? That could fill in some voids for us. So as far as sustainability on the land, I'm just not sure. But a man is desperate at this, anything's possible.
Are there any plans to release the recording as well?
To release the recording
The broadcast recording?
to the media?
Yeah.
Not now, there's not. We're utilizing it for our investigations. So that was broadcast, like Lieutenant Colonel said, through the helicopter yesterday and through patrol cars, in hopes that perhaps as desperate as he is, maybe he has a change of thought. And here's his mother telling him to surrender, and his family cares about him. He's desperate. He's hungry. He's been in the woods. He's dirty. Perhaps this is what puts him over the edge where we can get a peaceful surrender.
Is his mom in Brazil?
She is.
That's my follow-up question. I know it is in Portuguese, but can you tell us what his mother is actually saying to him?
I don't want to say verbatim. She's just encouraging that his family loves him and that she wants him to surrender. And that's what our hope is as well.
So, you know, I guess they got to try everything. I don't think, you know, a guy that escaped a prison and is on the run is going to surrender peacefully. I just don't see that happening, regardless of whether his mother or whoever else is encouraging him to surrender. He's out there. He's not looking to surrender. He's looking to escape. And again, he's been on the lam now for 7 days. This is the 7th day. And what is his intentions? Obviously, it's to stay out there. It's to get away. It's not to get caught. So again, they can play as many recordings from his mother as they want. I don't see him surrendering. I think he's going to get caught, and hopefully he'll get caught very soon. And, you know, we're waiting to see what is the next move by law enforcement. Is he going to stay within this perimeter? Is he still in this perimeter, or are we going to see some trail cameras of him outside the perimeter? As yet, we don't know. We don't know what's yet if that's going to occur. But look, the police are vigilant. They're staying on top of this, and again, all they can do is stay vigilant and keep searching and keep using the public to help you in this investigation and in this search. That's all they can do. As I had reported earlier, the case in Texas last year of this picture on the screen, that's Gonzalo Lopez. It went horribly wrong. I think the police and the authorities in that case relaxed their search, relaxed their vigilance, And as a result, Gonzalo Lopez hid out during the daytime, moved around at night, broke into houses, was able to sustain himself. And as we said, we reported earlier, he was able to kill a family of 5 and remained an escaped prisoner until he met up with the Fugitive Enforcement Division, who he got into a gunfight with, and they took him out. And we don't want to see anything like that happening right now, because we're hoping that there'll be a peaceful conclusion to this. And again, that's all we can hope for at this point, that there's a peaceful conclusion, that the police will be able to capture him before he does any more damage to anyone else, an innocent person out there. And look, they've been on this for 7 days. They can stay on this as long as need be until he's caught. And this was a little bit of an update from before we previously played this. Let me play it one more time.
Joe, with the late day 7 of the search for a convicted killer who escaped from the Chester County Prison. Police have closed more roads today, indicating the search has now shifted. Danelo Cavalcante has been on the run since last Thursday. Our Joe Holden has been following this story very closely. He is live in Pecopson Township. Good afternoon, Joe.
John, good afternoon to you. So this is one of several checkpoints all along Route 926. In fact, we are on the northeastern edge of this perimeter. We've seen cars searched, and state police just searched this train. The train actually had crossed 926, and then the engineer reversed it so the troopers could get on board and see if Danelo Cavalcante was perhaps hitching a ride. They've cleared the train. They're just waiting for it to come back this way, if that is perhaps its route of travel. We've mentioned the expansion. Yes, there have been reports of sightings, but sources tell me they were dismissed, found to be disproven from overnight. Police still urging homeowners and business owners to check those surveillance systems for any possible sign of Danelo Cavalcante. The search now hitting day 7. Efforts to locate him have not been successful, despite prosecutors telling us hundreds of law enforcement officers are in this area of southern Chester County. Cavalcante was convicted in the murder of his former girlfriend last month. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Meanwhile, the stress of the search is taking its toll. Schools in the area are again closed. Superintendents for 2 districts are appealing to the Department of Education for waivers so the canceled days won't be counted against them for that 180-day rule. Businesses in the area have reported lighter traffic due to the heavy police presence and, of course, out of concern for safety. Police were confident yesterday that their approach would end this manhunt, but so far, Cavalcante has continued to elude capture. As you see, state police back live here, sitting right at 926, and just to the left of your screen is the bridge to the Brandywine Creek. Again, this is the edge of the search zone for now. We've seen it migrate slightly to the east as, of course, it's getting wider, and state police leading the investigation in the search for Danelo Cavalcante. Now, state police have called for a 3 o'clock news conference that is in Westchester at the County Government Center. We, of course, will bring that to you live right here on CBS News Philadelphia and on our streaming service. That is the latest. We're live in Pecopson Township. I'm Joe Holden, CBS News Philadelphia.
So, folks, that's where we're at right now. There's supposed to be a press conference at 3 o'clock. Tonight at 6 p.m., I have Sheriff Errol Toulon. He is the sheriff of the Suffolk County Jail, where Long Island serial killer Rex Uhrman is being held. He's going to be interviewed by us on the Police Off the Cuff podcast. That's at 6 p.m. this evening. He's a great guest. He's a 41-year veteran of law enforcement, and he's going to talk about the investigation, the interview of people in regards to that case. So tune in at 6 p.m. tonight, Errol Toulon, and it will be in regards to the Long Island serial killer case of Rex Uhrman. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. This is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'll see you tonight at 6.
One episode, just this ain't enough.